Hello Banquistors, I'm Seb.
And I'm Johnny, and together we run Banquist.
Shout out to all the Banquist 001 and 2 customers who have missed our intros, but we have got an important announcement. We got up at the crack of dawn today to film with the most amazing chef here at Innisea in Wales.
The reason why we want to make a big deal about Gareth Ward, yes, he's got a Michelin star, but it's because we have an ambition, not just to bring you cooking lessons from London's best chefs, but from the world's best chefs. And so we'll be travelling to far-flung reaches of the UK and beyond to give you world-class cooking lessons from world-class chefs. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm Gareth Ward, Innisea Restaurant in Wales, 1-star, 5 rosette and a load of other stuff. I've collaborated with Banquist and they've asked me to do a little menu for them. So this is what I've got for you today. So here we've got scallop katsu curry. So you've got roasted scallops with breadcrumbs and some katsu curry sauce, some fresh coriander, some toragashi spice, chili. And then for main course we're going to have wagyu beef with brown ale, mushrooms and shiitake. And then really simple dessert, one of my favourites, it's apples and custard. Really simple, homely, soul food I think. Thank you very much and I hope you enjoy it. So as usual on Banquist, they're going to supply you with some world-class ingredients and I'm just going to talk you through the ones that we're going to use today. So here we've got some beautiful hand-dyed scallops from Orkney, really beautiful specimens, and we're going to serve that with katsu ketchup with like panko, and so it's a bit like a katsu curry. So this is the curry ketchup. You've got some panko, this is already cooked but I'm going to show you how to do that. This is a toragashi spice, which is amazing little fruity, sweet 7 chili spice. Some awesome fresh coriander, and that's it for that one. Then we're going to move on to the main course, which is this is a A5 Japanese sirloin. Obviously you're not getting this one, this is out of my fridge, but I'm sure they will provide you with something equally as good, and if you want to buy some proper stuff, come and see me. So we're serving that with mushrooms and beer, which is obviously like it's like a steak and ale pie with mushrooms, but our own version. So this is the shiitakes. So we're going to dehydrate these ones. Then we've juiced some already in shiitake ketchup, which we'll provide. Some puffed rice, and this is a glaze, which we're going to just give the beef once it's cooked. So you've got some awesome mirin, some brown rice sake, some koji, some miso, and then you've got some Newcastle brown ale, just for, obviously, because I'm from Newcastle, so that's where that needs to be in there. Apples and custard, so we've got incredible eggs, make an awesome custard. I serve it cold, so that's the best. And these are Bramley apples, which are the best apples in the world as far as I'm concerned. Really nice, tart, brilliant for cooking. Just going to poach them in its own juice, thicken it with some corn flour, simple as that. Obviously, to make this work, to cook this meal at home, there's a few things that we need you to have. So we'll start off with, obviously, where everything's sat on here is the chopping board. You've got to have one of them. Some butter, plenty of butter, obviously things taste amazing with butter. Sugar, salt, cooking oil. You're going to need about one of them 2-litre bottles of sunflower oil by the time you finish this. A couple of pots with lids, peeler, bottle opener obviously is essential for your wine, a couple of marisas, a knife, a couple of whisks, a probe if you've got one. If not, I have given you techniques to how to check things without a probe. A whisk and a bucket to pass your rice off in once you've cooked that, a pot to cook your rice, some tweezers or kid tongs or whatever you've got at home, pastry brush, scales obviously to weigh your ingredients, a couple of frying pans, a tray with some parchment paper for your mushrooms, and a juicer if you've got one to juice your apples. If not, you have to get some apple juice. So there's going to be 3 things in the box that we're actually going to make for you at the restaurant here, because they're quite long jobs and I want you to have the best of how it's supposed to be. And obviously we do this every day, so we think that we should make these for you. So to start off with, on your starter, you've got the katsu ketchup. So this is curry base, which is made from loads of carrots, onions, garlic, bay leaves, coriander, loads of spices, soy sauce, honey. We use our own honey as well. We have bees in the garden. We get our own honey from them, so that's in there as well. And then we just thicken that up with some agar and then blend it and add some of the curry sauce back to it, so it's just really beautiful fresh. For your main, you've got the shiitake mushroom ketchup. So this is just juiced shiitakes, which then we just thicken with agar and then blend it up with rice vinegar, sugar and soy sauce. And then for your dessert, some cold custard. Obviously you won't reheat this when I give you it, you've got to serve it cold. And this is just incredible eggs that we found locally, beautiful like red yolks, soya milk, vanilla, corn flour, and a bit of love. So obviously this is a piece of Wagyu sirloin. This is A5 Japanese out of my salt chamber. And before service, the same as what you guys should do, is we'll get this out of our fridge, we'll prepare it ready to go, and we'll leave it on a shelf somewhere nice and warm, not too hot, to come up to temperature, because it's one of the biggest problems that people make is they try and cook a piece of meat straight from the fridge. It'll be cooked on the outside and it'll be completely raw in the middle, and then you'll have problems. So to get a beautiful, even cooked piece of meat, you want to get this out, you want to room it up for a couple of hours, you know, get it out right at the beginning, so when you put it in that pan, it is going to cook beautifully all the way through. So we've got some beautiful shiitakes here. We get these from a guy down in the New Forest called Marble Mushrooms. They're incredible. These are one of my favourite ingredients in the world. The flavour, for me, it's just insane. It's so full of umami. It's just an incredible, like, versatile ingredient, and it goes really, really well with the beef and mushroom dish that we're going to do with the brown ale. So what you want to do with these, you just want to check them for any bits of dirt. There shouldn't be any on there, but you just want to have a little check through. Once you're happy with them, you just put them down on a tray like this, on top of some greaseproof. Now these won't take very long to dehydrate, because they're quite a fine mushroom. They're not a big heavy mushroom like a Cepa or anything like that. So just have them separated like that. You get your oven on, and this is on. If you've got a fan oven, turn your fan down, otherwise your mushrooms will all be like a whirlwind inside your oven. Turn your fan down, it wants to be 65 degrees-ish, or pilot light if you've got a gas. And you just want to pop them in there until you can smash them with your hand and they just completely turn to powder. Okay, so any dinner party you're going to cook, or any meal for friends or family at home, you should always start at the end and work your way backwards. Biggest mistake some people make is that they'll go straight into getting the starter ready, they'll get the main course, then they'll jump on the dessert. If they've got an ice cream, they'll make their ice cream will go in the freezer, it'll be there 2 hours before they need it, and then they'll be like, oh my god, my ice cream ain't frozen. You know, so always start at the end. So we're going to start off with the apples. These are beautiful Bramley apples. This dessert is actually on our menu at the restaurant. It's just about to go on. We're just finishing the end of the blueberry season, so we go on to Bramley apples. So we're just going to cut the tops and bottoms off. You do get a lot of bruising on them. They're not like they're like a proper cooking apple, so you do get a lot of bruising. So we just peel them like this, and then any bits of bruise you find, just go down a bit further with your peeler or chop it out with a knife. Cut it into quarters, take your core out, and then these in the half, and then just into big dice. Put them straight in your pan. Just like that, really, really simple. So we're just going to weigh this now, and what you're looking for is equal quantities of apple juice and sugar. So we're going to go for, we'll see what we've got here. So there's 300 mils there. So obviously we're going to take that 300 grams of sugar. Perfect. And now we're going to pour that, to give that little mix together first. Just to start dissolving that sugar, otherwise you'll end up with a big pile of sugar in the bottom. And just pour that over your apples. Make sure you scrape the ball out of the maurice, get all that out, all that sugar out. And that's what you want them just covering the apples. You don't need any more than that, but obviously you don't want any less. So, got the apples, got the juice, got the sugar, and these are just going to pop on the stove. And what we're going to do is we're just going to bring them to the boil quickly, and then we're going to turn the heat right down low, the lowest it'll go on your stove. And you just want to pop the lid on, and you always want to poach these in that hot juice until they are soft all the way through. Either test it with a knife or cut it in half, you know, but they don't want to be exploding, they don't want to be popping, otherwise you took them too far. So these are going to come up now. Just keep stirring them while they're going to come up, just so you're dissolving all that sugar, and then turn it right down. So your juice has been like clarified. Then they're up to heat, they're up to a nice temperature. Temperature's on really low now. And you just want to be checking that every 5 minutes just to make sure it's good. Obviously you just do the test by, you should go transparent, but just cut them in half or just press them with your fingers, but you don't want them exploding. So now we've got a pan of sunflower oil on there, about a litre in the pan. We're going to bring this up really, really hot. You want it about 220 degrees. And here you're being provided with some raw uncooked wild rice. A probe if you've got one, if not, we'll do a little test. I'll show you how you can do it. You just basically want to just drop a grain in when you think it's ready. It should instantly puff to the top. If it doesn't, oil's not hot enough. So oil's coming up there. As you can see, there's a slight smoke. That's kind of what you're looking for. We just dip our probe in there. It's at 223 degrees. I'm going to knock that temperature off. Just drop a couple of grains in. See what happens. They should pop straight to the top like them. So if they do that, get it all in. That's what you're looking for. Drain it straight away. Don't let them sit in there too long, you'll burn them. It will burn straight away. If you have a little smell, they smell like beautiful toasted rice. If it smells burnt, you must do it again, otherwise you'll have something bitter and they'll go really hard. And then if you want to, you can just give them a little season with some salt. If you like that extra salty, like kind of popcorn taste. If not, just leave them as they are, let them just cool down like that. So next is to make a little panko crumb. So we've got some panko here, and we've got some butter, and we're just going to put 3/4 of that butter in there, like this, and then we're just going to melt this on the stove. So what you're looking for is you want to start, this butter wants to start foaming before you add your panko. So you just start getting that melted on there. You want to be on medium-high heat. Just keep your butter moving so it doesn't burn. If you put it in there when the butter's too cold, or right at the beginning, you end up with quite a fatty breadcrumb. And you want the heat to it, get rid of all that fat from it. So you only want to fry the outside almost. See, that's starting to go for me there now. So we'll get the breadcrumbs in there and just pull it off the heat. Keep moving. And you've got a beautiful foam, that's what you want. And you just keep stirring it, turn your heat down a little bit to just medium. And you put it back on there. And you're looking for this nice brown crumb, like this here. So in here you just want to take it until that nice brown, like that. And you just want to strain it off. Just put it in a little pot. Like so. And if you just get some paper, some blue roll or some kitchen roll, and if you just pour that onto there and just let it sit and just drain off all that fat, so it's just nice and dry. So we're going to cook the scallops. So these are the Orkney scallops, out of the shell, cleaned, dried out, and then just you've got to bring these up to room temperature. It doesn't take very long, but you don't want them to be fridge cold. Again, like the beef, if you don't take these out of the fridge half an hour before you cook them, they're going to be freezing cold in the middle and hot on the outside, and you're not going to get a nice scallop. It's not going to be nice and tender. I only cook scallops on one side very quickly. I want them to cook, get almost like a crispiness on one side. Then you flip them over, let them rest in a dish like this, and then you just want them to be warm in the middle, and you slice them up. So you get beautiful jelly texture, really sweet. It's not tough, it's not bouncy, you know, and you're eating a beautiful sweet scallop, you know. You don't want to overcook these things. So we're going to take these to the pan now. So first thing I'm going to do is, you've got your scallop. When you're taking it out your shell, your flat shell's on the top and the ball shell's on the bottom. That's your flat. So that's the side you want to cook it on. You don't want to cook it on the ball side. So flip it upside down so the flat bit is on the dish, and just salt the bottom. Just a little bit of salt. Then some cooking oil, some sunflower oil in the pan. Medium-high temperature. Obviously you don't want to stew these things. You want to flash them quite high, get a nice crispiness on them, throw your butter in, a little bit of butter in there, and then take it out and let them rest. So that pan's hot now, you can see it's smoking. That's the sound you're after. If it doesn't make that sound, get your scallop straight out of the pan. It's not hot enough, you're going to stew it. And then one of the biggest things you'll see chefs shaking pans, getting their hands in there, moving stuff around. Leave it alone. It'll caramelise in that spot to that pan now. That's what you want it to do. Just leave it there. Don't touch it. Don't be like keep checking it. Just let it do its thing. You leave it for about 30 seconds to 1 minute. Then we'll have a little flip it over. Make sure it's golden brown. When that's ready, we're going to start adding the butter. So it's time to have a little check. Beautiful, that's what you're looking for. Beautiful roasted scallop. That's exactly what you're looking for, that nice caramelisation. So take your pan off the heat, put your butter in. Flip them over like that, couple of seconds on one side, take them out, let them rest. That's a beautiful roasted scallop, that's exactly what you're looking for. Okay, so these have rested lovely. If you just keep basting them in that beautiful juice that it makes in the bottom, that just gives them a nice shine and helps that move that seasoning around. And these are ready to go. So as usual at Banquist, there's a competition going for the most beautiful plate of food that you guys plate up. Obviously send your entries into Banquist and I'll be the one picking them, so you know, you never know, you might even get a job. So it's time to plate these up. If you ever want to just make sure that these are warm enough, because obviously it's being flashed on one side, just get yourself a little pair of tweezers, and if you just push that into the middle like that, hold it there for a few seconds, take it out and just put it on your lip. If it's cold, obviously it's cold. It needs to rest longer, or you need to flash it back in the pan. It wants to just be warm. It doesn't want to be hot. If it's hot, they're overcooked. And they shouldn't feel tight. They shouldn't feel like, if they're really bouncy, they're too far. They've gone too far. And you're eating an overcooked scallop, because I don't think we'll give you any spares. So we're just going to flip these over. It's up to you, obviously, how you plate this up, but we're just going to give this a nice slice. And like if you're slicing a piece of meat or slicing anything, just give it another little season, just so you're getting that seasoning throughout the plate. Then just get some of your panko and just over the top. You don't want too much because you're going to ruin the scallop flavour. It just wants to give it that crunchiness that you get if you have, say, a katsu chicken. But I think it works better with scallops because it's nice and sweet. So after that, you get your curry ketchup all the way over the top. So every mouthful you're getting everything together. Then you got your togarashi spice. If you just turn it down so it's not gaping open, so then you're not getting loads of it, and you just sprinkle it. You want plenty of this. It's very hot, spicy, but it's nice and sweet. And obviously it's a curry, so you want some spice. And just get some coriander, and you just want it roughly chopped. To order as you're plating it, so it's really fresh. Over the top like that. And that's it. That's your scallop katsu curry. Cool, so we've got this bottle of wine here that obviously you're going to get with your box. Hopefully it'll be nice, I haven't tried it yet. My philosophy on wine is just drink what you like. You know, like, I don't do the whole sommelier wine pairing bullshit chat that a lot of it comes out with. Like, it's just, for me, it's just ridiculous, and I just don't agree with it. So I just, like, tell the customers to drink what they love, you know, drink what, and then our wine list is full of wines that we love drinking, and that's what it is. Like, I just don't tend to join any of the bullshit about it all. So I'm just going to open this up and try it for the first time. Obviously I've never tried it. Yeah, it's really nice. It'll go well with your food, hopefully. So if you've opted for it, I think this is an extra. We've got a bit of sparkle in here. So some Ponzi sommelier will definitely tell you that this went really well with the scallop. I don't know if it does or not because I haven't tried it myself, but I'm guessing it will. You can tell how many bottles of oil I opened. Can't even get it open. So let's just have a little try. See which cameraman I can take out with a cork. Way. So yeah, there we go. Smells nice. Tastes really nice, actually. It's quite fresh. So I've just really enjoyed the starter, and yeah, now I'm ready to make the main course. So this is the glaze for the beef, which is obviously really special because we're using a bit of Newcastle Brown Ale, which obviously is part of my heritage. So yeah, so we've got the ingredients laid out here. Obviously you've got your recipe, so you just check your ingredients for the right amount. So what we've got here is 250 grams of sugar. Then you've got 200 grams of the koji. Obviously make sure you scrape all of your bowls when you've measured it out. You've got 100 mils of the brown rice sake. You've got 250 grams of the mirin, burnt off mirin. And you've got 250 grams of miso. Just like that. And then a whole bottle of Newcastle Brown Ale. Just crack the top off. Don't drink any, I know you want to, but don't. Just in there like that. Make sure you get every bit of that out. And then we're just going to pop this on the stove and keep whisking it until it just starts to make a glaze. So what we want to do is just keep whisking this together. Obviously there's quite a lot here, and obviously you're only going to need a little bit of it. But then this will sit in your fridge quite happily for many months without going off, because it's also got full of sugar and salt and koji. And you can use it on any steak that you cook, or any chicken or any fish. It's amazing on loads of things. So you can just use it as a little glaze for anything that you're cooking in the house. So you just want to bring this to the boil, keep whisking it so it doesn't burn to the bottom. As you can see, it's starting to come to the boil. And when it boils, you just want to boil it for a few seconds just to make sure that everything's incorporated properly. And you see there, it's just coming to the boil now. And that's what you want. Just want to give it a rapid boil, 30 seconds. Keep stirring it. And then just knock your heat off and just let that cool down. And that's it. That's your glaze made. And this just wants to be served at room temperature. Doesn't need reheating or anything. And that's it done. Just go and check the shiitakes. Just there, they just need a few more minutes. They're starting to go crispy. Obviously, if you think that they're really crispy, take them out and let them just cool down a little bit, because sometimes if you take them straight out of the oven and touch them, they might not feel crispy, but then they'll start to cool down and they'll crispen up. There you do need another few more minutes, but they're not far off. So now for cooking our beef. You're going to get a bigger piece than this, obviously. This is just me showing you how to do it. You're going to get roughly double that for the two of you. So we're just going to cook this in a pan with a little bit of oil to start off with, and then just finish it with some butter and let it rest. So we're just going to take this over to the pan now. Awesome. So pan on, medium-high heat. Oil in. And again, like before, if you put your piece of meat in there, like your scallop, if it doesn't make a noise, get it back out, it's not ready to go. And we just want to pick your steak up. And then it goes like that, and just leave it alone. Again, like the scallop, do not touch it. There's no need to touch it. There's no need to move it around. Give it a little bit of salt on top. And you want to sit exactly the same before, the same technique you're looking for. Is just to watch it colour on the outside. When you start to get a nice golden brown, that's when you have a look at it, and that's when you flip it over. As long as you've got a good bit of smoke coming off, see that's starting to go golden brown on that side, so what we do is we flip it over. Beautiful. This has got caramelisation on the ends because this piece of meat has got sugar in it. Yours won't do that. And you want to give it roughly the same amount of time on the other side. You've got beautiful colour there, nice and crispy. And then we're just going to finish this exactly like the scallop. Chuck some butter in there, get it foaming up. And we're just going to pour, unlike the scallops, because we don't want the scallops, we wanted the scallops to be quite raw. unlike the scallops, we're going to pour this all in back into here. So keep that heat in, and you just keep turning it while it cools down. And obviously, it's completely up to you how you're going to cook this at home. I'm going to cook it quite rare, but I like my steak like that. Obviously, if you want it well done, you just need to turn the heat down in the pan before adding the butter, and just keep turning it until it gets to the point where you want it. Then add the butter. Do not add the butter too early, otherwise you end up burning the butter and your steak is ruined. So obviously that's sitting there. We just keep turning that over in that butter. Now to check this, depends what you want. I want this like medium rare-ish. So get your tongs. Obviously make sure they're cold. Like with a scallop, just put it into the middle of the meat. Take it out and just put it on your lip. If it's warm, it's medium rare. It's where you want it to be. If it's hot but not burn, it's about medium. If it burns your lip, it's well done. And then if hopefully you wanted it that way. So last little bit before we dress this dish is we've got some nori. Get a really hot pan, you want to smoke in, and you just kind of want to toast it. Obviously be careful with your hands, just try and get all the nori to touch the pan, like so. How Carl's here, just make sure that we're doing it right. Aren't you, mate? We're doing it right? Yeah. So you just want to toast it, you see it's changing colour, starts to smell like toasted seaweed, all the way around, and that's it, done. Just turn your pan off, and that's what you're looking for. Right, so obviously once you've toasted that, you just cut it into quarters, pile it up on top of each other, like so. Cut it into strips. Obviously they don't have to be uniform. The beauty of this nori is that it's obviously got an awesome toasted flavour, toasted seaweed flavour. It's full of umami, but like kind of sticks in your teeth. Same as the dehydrated shiitakes, and that flavour just kind of lingers with the steak. That's why we do this, so it just carries on that beautiful flavour. That's just in the dish ready to go. So just took these mushrooms out of the oven. Obviously they're nice and crispy now, so they're just ready to just go in a little pot, and they'll just cool down. As they cool down, they'll go crispier, and they're ready to go. Cool. So all ingredients are ready here. So again, this is another dish that is actually on the menu at Innisea. This has been one of our longest standing dishes. It's something that I absolutely love. So we're going to start off with first just carving this beef. So this has been rested. Obviously you've cooked it to however you want to cook it. This is just beautifully in pink. So we're just going to carve, as you can see there. That's how I want it. I'm just going to put them on the plate. And then we've got this beautiful glaze, which is going to act as almost like a little bit of a sauce as well. Just over the top like that. And it gives it a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of bitterness from the beer, a little bit of saltiness with the miso. So that's that there. Then we'll go over the top like that with the shiitake. The reason why we dress like this is because this is how we eat it in the kitchen, and this is how I want the customers in the restaurant to eat it and you guys to eat it. Instead of having a blob of sauce over here that you might not dip your piece of meat in, you haven't got any choice but to eat this exactly how I want you to eat it, which means that you get all the flavours together, which means that it works the same way every time. So a bit of crispy rice over the top of that. This is just for texture, so you've got a nice bit of crunch. Some of the smashed up dried shiitakes. These are nice and chewy. Don't mind if they're too big as well, because they'll just stick in your teeth and carry on that awesome flavour. And then just finish with a nice big pinch of this toasted seaweed. And that's it. That's the Wagyu beef glazed with Newcastle brown ale. With shiitake, mushroom and seaweed. So we're just going to check these apples now. Just pour it very gently, so if you just lift one out, you can either cut it with a knife or just give it a little squeeze. You see that? Absolutely perfect. Hasn't exploded, so it hasn't got too hot. If your heat's been too high, your apples will just explode, because they'll just explode from the inside. That's when you can tell when it's poached perfectly, when the apples are still all holding their shape. But they're just beautifully soft. That's what we do now. Just tilt the pan to the side, get your little spatula around, and you just want to drain these off onto a little piece of muslin cloth or a piece of tissue. We turn our heat on. We add the corn flour. Give it a really good whisk.
How much corn flour is it?
It's 20 grams per 300 mils. And you just don't want to see any lumps at all, so you want to keep whisking it. Now, corn flour is one of the ingredients that sometimes it's not always the same. So sometimes this will go really thick, which means that you can always add just a little drop of water, or if you've got any apple juice left, you can always put a little bit of apple juice in. Sometimes it's a little bit thin, so you can always add a bit more corn flour. It's never always the same. So you just got to guide it. So you just turn that down and start boiling now.
What consistency are you looking for?
You're looking for a nice kind of almost like a gel like that. Because when you add these back, they're going to release their juice back into it, and it's going to become perfect. So you got like almost like an apple pie filling. That's what you're after. Nice, thick, beautiful apple. Now what you want to do now, you've turned your heat off. You just want to let that cool down a little bit. Once that's cooled down to a temperature where you can eat it, you very, very gently fold your apples back into there, and then that's it. It's ready to go. Awesome. So this is cooled down, and as you can see, I've really gently folded them apples into there. Obviously, you've gone all that effort to make them cooked absolutely beautiful. You don't want to start like being really heavy-handed with this. Really just gentle. Use a rubber spatula like I'm using here, and that's like you've got that beautiful thick sauce. So it's like coating it. It's like an apple pie filling. That's kind of what this comes from. So now we're going to build this dish. So we're just going to get a few bits of that apple. Oh man, look at that. This is one of my favourite things in the world. This dish is on the menu again, like I said before, at the restaurant. And then custard straight from the fridge wants to be really cold. You just get a spoon straight over the top. And then this wants to be served straight away. You need to eat that instantly. And there you go. One of my favourite desserts in the world. Apples and custard.